Hi guys, it's Ali Raza here, and in this video we are going to look at defining data in assembly language. So in previous video we saw the basic data types that are available in assembly language. So they are not difficult, they are very easy because assembly is all about bits and bytes, and so everything forms up from there. It doesn't have complex data structures like we have in the high level languages. Alright, and so what we can do is we'll start, and so in order to define a variable in assembly language and initialize it, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we are using the correct directive. So right now in SASM we are using NASM, and so NASM has different directives compared to MESM. So if you are using Visual Studio, you need to use byte word, dword, qword, and tbyte. But if you are using NASM, you need to use this db, dw, dd like this. And so let's start with a very simple initialization. So let's say count, and then let's define a double word. So it's a dd because we are in NASM, and so I can say 112233, right? And so now what I have done is I have actually created and initialized a variable called count, and so count uh, now has the value of 1122 and 33, and its size is double word, so it's 4 bytes or 32 bits, right? And so now whatever you want to do you can do with it. So we can write the necessary instructions and then perform like required operations on it. And so what we can do simply for demonstration, I can say move EX and then count. Now I want to show you something. So let's say I say move EX and count, and then let's debug it. So you will see that the EAX register right now has uh, 1, right? It contains 1 here. And so if I move, let's say step, you will see that it has 0x402000, which is weird because our count variable is 112233. It's not the same value. Now the thing is that if we do it like this, it what it will actually do is it will move the address of the count variable, the place where it is stored in the data section, and so we don't want that, right? So what you can do is if at any time, at any point, you want to move the actual value instead of the instruction, what you have to do is you have to place square brackets. So this is in the Intel flavor. So if you are on AT&T, you might have to refer to the documentation or other like docs manual to see if things are same or maybe a little bit different there. But here in the Intel flavor, in the NASM, what you can do is if you want to move the actual value instead of the address, you have to place the square brackets. And so now what we have done is we are telling the assembler that okay, we don't want the address, we actually want the value that is inside the count. And so hopefully now it will give us the right value. And so if you see, we got 1B669, which is in decimal 112233. If you are not sure, you can do the calculation by yourself as well. So if you say 1B and it's 669, so you can see that it's 112233, right? So we are on the right track. So this is what we wanted, and so in this way we actually define like simple data types, and then in this way you can like change the data types, you can place any value in it. However, if you have a variable that you have not yet initialized, right, like we do in high level languages, we do create the variable but we do not initialize it because we do not know the value, or maybe the value is coming from somewhere else, maybe when the program runs at runtime. And so in assembly, if you want to initialize or rather create a variable which is not initialized, which is uninitialized, what you can do is very easy. So let's say we want to create the message variable, and let's say it's going to be a double word, uh, just for demo. And so I don't know the value, so how can I tell the assembler that this is going to be uninitialized, right? So one way to do it is to, and it's very simple, the way to do is to simply place a question mark. What it will do is it will tell the assembler that okay, we have this double word, and this is uninitialized, right? So this is an uninitialized variable. So this is how we do it with a question mark. And then again, if you want to perform certain operations, you can do it in the assembly, right? You can pass data in it. Once the data is passed, you can do other things with this as well, and do whatever you want with it. So it's up to you, right? And then I will quickly show you how we uh, create a list. Creating a list is also simple. It's not very difficult. It's actually very simple if we look at, like, I mean, we are at a lower level assembly language, but it's simple, right? So let's say I want to create a list of bytes, right? uh, so what I can do is I can give it a name like my list, and then I can say it's a byte. So if I'm on NASM, it has db, defined byte, right? So I can say defined byte, and then I can put values like 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. So this is a list, right? This is how we define a list, and in this way we can create a list of uh, double words or a quad word or whatever data type that you prefer, right? And so in similar manner, if you want to create strings, um, like a string value, right? And we know that a string is just a sequence of characters. So taking that definition, what we can do is, again, in order to define a string, we can say okay, I want to have a string called greeting, which is a byte, and it has the value uh, hello there, right? It has the value uh, hello there, and then I can close it, and then I can say 0. The reason for putting 0 is that 0 acts as a delimiter, something that makes sure that when you are processing this string, you are actually you have a certain way of knowing that okay, now there is the end of the variable. And so this is why you will see people putting 0, or sometimes what they do is that they also put carriage return and line feed. And so for that, if you refer to a manual or maybe the hex codes for carriage return and line feed, you will find that for the hex codes for them are 0dh, and then 0ah, and then 0 to act as a delimiter. And so these two are the hex codes for the carriage return and line feed. And so in this way we actually define a string. So we can again do certain operations with it when we are doing the instructions, and in this way we can do our own stuff, right? One more important thing that I wanted to show is how to actually calculate the size of the list, because again we have created the list, but sometimes what happens is that we don't know the size for it. And so in order to calculate the size for it, what you can do is you can make use of the location counter. And so in order to uh, make use of it, there is a symbol that is used, which is $sign. So in order to access the location counter, you use the dollar sign, and then what you do is you subtract from it the offset of the list, and then this essentially gives you the length or the size of the list. But that again depends on what kind of data you have. So if you have ever programmed in C language, you know that in order to calculate the size, what we do is we first calculate the size of the the list, and then we divide it with the size of the data type that the list is. So for example, if we have integer, we divide it with like uh, the size of the integer, right? And so for example, if I have, let's say, a list of double words, right, 4 bytes. So what I can do is I can say, okay, another list, and so uh, a double word, I believe. So double word is 4 bytes, 32 bits. And so what I can do is I can say that okay, let's say maybe 111222333 444 and 555, right? So we have this. And so now if I want to calculate the size of this list, what I can do is I can say create another variable, and I can say that the like the size is actually what we need to access is the location counter, and then once we have the location counter, we need to subtract it for the offset of the list itself. So we can say another list, and but we are not finished yet, because this is a double word. We need to make sure that we are calculating it correctly. Had it been a byte, we would have been just doing this like this, because a byte is a it 1 byte, you don't need to do anything. So if you have a list of byte, you do not need to divide it with something. But if you have something else other than the byte, let's say a word, a double word, what you need to do is you need to check what the size it has, the variable, and then divide it. So here we have the double word. So the size for the double word is 4 bytes. So what I can do is I can access the location counter, subtract the list itself, and then divide it with the 4. The reason for dividing it with 4 is because the size is in 4 bytes. And so this is the reason, this is the way we calculate the size of a list in assembly language. And this one is pretty similar, very close to what you do in the C language, because in C language you do the same thing. You first get the size and then divide it by the size of the variable. And so in this way we actually define different data types, different variables. And so hopefully you understood some of it. I didn't show much of the assembly because it's not going to be very not very helpful, because the main agenda for this video was to see how we define different variables, and then whether they are initialized or not. Alright, so I will see you in the next video. Until then, have a good day and keep programming in assembly language.